Thank you all. Thanks 1MillionCups and everybody involved in this. This is largely, I'm going to talk about the Neez21. It's a pretty cool and exciting product that we're developing. It should be out in 2024, as long as everything works. But my company is RealizAbility, and it's an engineering design firm, but really focused on making sure that we're building the right product for the end users, and then also make sure that it makes good business sense. So we're helping to support all of these crazy ideas that are coming out of Northwest Ohio. And I moved up there in 2019. I left Columbus and moved up to Northwest Ohio to start that company. And this is one of the first products that we've really taken far enough along. So I'm going to go over this pitch, and really it's a pitch that we're using later on this year for our presentation. So I'm excited to get some feedback on that. But also, you know, if I'm an innovations company in Northwest Ohio, I need innovation to come out of Northwest Ohio. So I need things like this 1MillionCups. So I'm excited to get your feedback on this, excited to get your feedback in all regards, but also we're just looking at how do we get innovation cultivated in Northwest Ohio to help develop things like this. So Neez21 though, without further ado, it's exciting. It's a nasal cleaning product that came to me from a doctor in Northwest Ohio, and he was recognizing that we've got all these allergies and congestion, people not sleeping well at night. A whole plethora of issues are caused by bacteria, viruses, allergens going up into your nose, right? And the nasal cavity acts as basically a filter for everything. So that's inspired a whole host of products to support that, including nasal drugs, right? We call how many people here have used the sprays, the nasal sprays, right? Okay. 1 in 3 Americans apparently suffer from allergies, and I think I just saw 80% of your hands. So either we've got a big problem here in Ohio, or it's off the charts. So the other mechanisms are irrigation, which flush everything out of your whole entire system. There's two ways of doing that, either forced or just passive. Have anybody here used a neti pot?
Yeah.
Okay. How many still use a neti pot?
I will.
Maybe kinda. Right.
It is pretty bad.
It's pretty gross, right? So that's really the problem we're trying to solve here. It's not that there needs to be an innovation around this, right? We've got systems that will clean out your nose, but they're inconvenient, they're uncomfortable, nobody wants to deal with them, right? You've got a handful of addicts out there who love them, but really we're trying to say, okay, in this $18 billion market around nasal allergies, where there's only 10% of that going to product that are actually cleaning out your system. And that's largely because of that intrusive and uncomfortable nature of it. So can we make a difference there? Is it possible to expand that 10% of that 18 billion, right? And is it possible to expand and capture that? And we were talking to end users, or not end users necessarily, but people who have nasal allergy issues, rated on a scale of 1 to 10, it was everybody 3 and above or fell into this research. So out of the 313 people, 88% said they were interested in a product that would do this, that would clean your system in a comfortable and clean method. Of the people who use electronic devices right now to do that, 100% of them said they were interested in a new product. So that's pretty encouraging, right? That's saying, yes, we can potentially steal this market and grow it at the same time. So that's where the Neez21 comes in, and they may get changed down the road. But right now, good old Dr. Aziz has created this device. It's really simple. You pop on a new tip so that it stays clean every day. You fill up the tank with some saline. This is the Gen 2 prototype, Gen 3 is on its way. And push a button, it oscillates and cleans out just your nasal cavity. At the very end, I'm happy to fill it with water and show it in front of everybody, right? nobody's taking that giant thing or a neti pot in front of you to show it off. So happy to do that, but really the key is simple setup and no mess at the end of the day. And something you can fit into your schedule right? If I told you, hey, 5 more minutes every day, your hand would not go up, right? Nobody has 5 more minutes in the morning. You're all rushing to work. But at 30 seconds, right? 15 seconds per nostril, and this one becomes addictive. I enjoy it too much. So it's great when if my company is like, so speaking from RealizAbility perspective, right, and not Neez, it's great if I get products that come to me that I can actually enjoy, you know. So this one, I was doing a presentation, and I was like, oh man, this is like allergy season. I'm gonna go rinse my nose out real quick. You know, it's perfect. So it just focuses on that entry level, right? It's like every day you brush your teeth, you probably don't floss every day, right? So this could actually pair well with those devices that are actually out there, or the neti pot if you really enjoy using that. You can flush out your whole system, but this just keeps it clean every day, right? You're only gonna floss the week before you go see the dentist. So let's figure out how to do a daily routine. So we went out with, you know, what's our unique selling proposition with this? So we listed out all the things that we're going to accomplish with this device to our end users, these 313 people. And we said, okay, here are all of our main features. For better or worse, all of those main features, which you can't read from where you're at, but it was like 95% of them said, yes, that's a very important feature. That's something I want. Like, good. What do I focus on now? You know, this is great. But it does show that we're winning. That our solution that we're presenting is the mechanism people want. These early prototypes, we had about 25 of them made, got them out to a handful of end users. By the time I get rid of everybody who's biased, I've only got under 10 users. But of those under 10 users, we've had everybody say that yes, they like this one. I especially like this one. Would you recommend this product? Right? Today, social media, everybody knows that the best way to expand anything is just by recommending it to your friends and family. So just to build the business case, the good doctor has an issued patent, and that is moving forward. We're getting another patent that we're filing or converting this next month, and then we've got a design patent as well. So we have a whole patent portfolio around this deal. We're going to start with direct because that's easier than getting into the brick and mortars, but we're going to do it in a way where our MSRP and our costs make sense so that we can move into the brick and mortars down the road. I don't know if anybody here has launched a product, but that's a typical trap people fall into now, right? Is I've got great margins as long as I'm selling it to the person down the street through Etsy. But once I try to get it in advertising and launched, there's no way. So the other nice thing is we've got these tips that you're only using once. And low ecological effect with those. They're so tiny. But those tips are a subscription model. You don't need to focus on this because I'm not pitching to you to take your money, but $130 million after 5 years would be our anticipated revenue. The good doctor, Dr. Aziz, he's been a physician for 40 plus years. A lot of experience leading organizations and building out things. But not product, which is why I come into play. And then we have his son Toby working very closely with us to make sure everything is moving along. One of the things, change that text, that's a great thing I'll learn from this presentation, to make that not white. But one of the great things we've got with this product too is our advisory board we've built out. We've attracted Fortune 500 talent, such as Mike Mosteller, who's actually from down here in Columbus. He was one of the people that brought the pink from an experiment within the brand to $1 billion. So we've got him on board to help us with logistics and and marketing. And George Vidanish, who's a GE and was at Philips. He's a VP in those areas. So as we look to hopefully get acquired one day, we've got some strategic networks built in there. And then a fellow who has successfully launched multiple and exited out multiple companies, including a nasal product. So we can't beat that. And to put a little icing on that cake, Dr. Rubin is a allergist with a 1 million person following on TikTok and Instagram. Supported by the whole Third Frontier network up in Northwest and Northeast Ohio, including Jumpstart, if you're familiar with them, and Glide just funded us for $50,000, which is pretty exciting. Like I said, launching in 2024. We're designing things right now, building it, testing it, launching it. And this pitch is specifically set up for a pitch we've got coming up in November. Pitch and pour up in Toledo, Ohio. That's for $10,000, which would be enough for us to get our 250 units that we need to test it, so to do all of our verification and validation and create a bunch of demo units that we'll have for distribution. So it sets us up right along that timeline of building and testing. The summary there, keep it clean, and make good money doing it. Comfortable, time saving, targeted. So that's the pitch for Neez21. I'd love to hear some feedback on that, but and not to, it's always the mistake of asking for two things at once, right? But like, love to hear some feedback on this, but also this, again, it's just one of many ideas that are bubbling up in Northwest Ohio. How do you create the culture of innovation like you're doing here to make sure that this is not my, this could be our first big product launch, and I've got a few more in the funnel, but how do we keep that culture, cultivate that culture in Northwest Ohio? So I'd love to hear some feedback.
Well, thank you. Anyone with questions?
Yes, sir.
So I kind of have questions on both of those questions. So
Good.
I'll see if I can fit these out. So since we're talking about all this gross stuff up in our face,
Right.
do you know what a tongue scraper is? Does anybody know
Oh,
what a
yeah.
tongue scraper is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so with the tongue scraper, I'm using this thing. My wife got it for me and I'm using it, and it's disgusting. But it works, right? And then I started to become addicted to it. I was like, oh, I gotta get off. I gotta clean this up. But when I got to a certain point where it was like, okay, I'm just doing this over and over and over. I'm not actually solving the root problem. So I was like, I wonder if on their website they have something about like, this is what causes your tongue to do this. This is a video of how you can solve that, or maybe you should eat this, or something like that. So I went on it and everything. But do you guys anticipate to have anything around that with what you're doing, like an educational piece? If that makes sense.
Yeah, the one of those aspects, I focus too much on the product because I'm an engineer, right? As much as I try to walk away from that and say, okay, we're doing launching businesses, right? The marketing is never my strong suit. So we've got a team of people who are looking into the marketing side, and that's one of the major ones, is to just drive traffic.
Yeah, lead magnet.
That's
Lead
how,
magnet.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking up, hey, what can I do to sneeze less, right? Like I'd rather see an article all about that, and then this could be an option on there with a link, kind of thing. But really, the desire is to reduce people's leaning on drugs at the end of the day, right? Like and that will be, if that's part of the mission that we want to have out in front of us, yeah, we need to do things like that.
So second question, what was your second question, just so I can kind of
Yeah,
read
so in Northwest Ohio, we've got a handful of little people who are interested in innovation, but we don't really have a good culture around innovation, right? Like there's nothing that I'm aware of like 1MillionCups in Northwest Ohio, right? So and I think you're talking about it being that front door, that low hanging fruit. It's a great mechanism, but how do I help get a culture started in Northwest Ohio that's interested in innovation and developing it, right?
innovation across the board.
Yeah. Or do I need to get more specific? yeah, I'm just throwing buzzwords out there, right?
Yeah.
But I'm interested to hear your feedback, especially from the Columbus side of what's happened here and what's going on here to keep it going. Yes.
Just on that, I think there are always people who are interested in innovation, but I think it's just them having the resources to actually go from the thought to actualization.
Okay. What's been your favorite resource?
I think what's so good about 1MillionCups is that the people who come are able to connect you to other areas or other opportunities that can really help you get from like point A to point B. So I think that it's like there's value in coming to 1MillionCups. So yeah, I think that's why people keep coming.
Have you thought about developing an incentive model to encourage participation in your events?
Not really. What kind of incentives would work out? Have you seen work out?
Well, you're talking about people coming to your event, right, to see the innovations?
I don't have an event yet, right? I could make an event.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
Well,
what
if
exactly
you
I
had
should
an
do.
event, then
Yeah.
you could give away free merchandise.
Okay.
You could offer to cross-market business,
Okay.
existing businesses that come, especially if you're talking about things that deal with hygiene,
Right.
such as your product. You could also encourage door prizes.
Okay. I like that. Yes.
I'm gonna go back a little bit to the product that you're talking about right
Yeah,
now.
please.
And then also I'll have some ideas about how to generate community after. But my question kind of to you, and then I'll go off of it a little bit, is are you aware at all of the scope or scale of the medical waste industry every year that is produced at all? Like I don't know, but I'm wondering,
Yeah.
do you have any numbers associated with that medical waste?
The medical waste, I don't know the numbers, but I've had conversations around this because a lot of my projects come from
Sure.
the hospitals.
Yeah.
So this one started with a first generation prototype that was out of the hospital,
Okay.
the regional hospital.
So the tips are single use, is that?
Single use, yeah.
So I think you can kind of see where my line
Right,
of questioning is
yeah.
starting to go, and as a consumer, like, that raises an alarm to me unless
Yeah.
I know that there is either like a biodegradable component to the product, or if I as a consumer have the ability to potentially send back the used tips for like sanitation, like high grade medical sanitation, and then potentially receiving like a discount on my next order as an incentive to do so, then as a consumer, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not causing more of a problem. I'm not contributing to the problem. If it's a plastic piece, I'm thinking, how can I reduce, single-use plastics in my life?
Right.
Or if there's a way to make it out of a product that is recyclable in some way. So, I didn't know.
And I think that latter part is most possible, right? But I need to know kind of, so from your perspective, what do you need to see on a package? Do you need to see 100% recyclable? Do you need to see biodegradable? Like what trigger words do you need? If this is sitting next to other products, like what would be the best thing for you to see on that label that makes you get that tummy comfort so it's not your Keurig, right?
Yeah, no, that's a great return question too. So I know that there's certain certifications that I as a consumer will like be flagged, like, oh, this company is doing the right processes or the right things. I know one of them is being B Corp certified, which is a long, arduous process to go through. So that might not be a phase one for the company,
Right.
but it could be something to work towards. I think pledges of like, we pledge to be carbon neutral by X date, or this product is made from X percentage of recycled product. Things that show an effort towards creating solution and not more problem for me is fine. I'm not expecting, especially startups, to always be able to be like, we're solving the climate crisis. But the acknowledgement that there is a climate crisis and how we're not contributing to making it worse is more important to me. And then, of course, marketing wise, like making sure that that is a part of any marketing campaign and is easily accessible on your website as well.
Right, perfect, good, thank you for that feedback. Yeah.
Well, I have another comment, but following up on that, I would say for me, biodegradable
That's true, because if I'm in my bathroom, I'm cleaning it and I'm throwing it in the trash.
Doesn't actually
Yeah.
recycle,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Do the packages come with all of them in there, or with enough for a full supply?
It'll be enough for a month basically, and then it'd be refills, and again, it's not gonna come in a little dime bag like this. It's gonna come in a professional package every month, ideally, right? But that and saline as well.
And
Yes.
then for your community question, I can only say what worked for me,
Yeah.
which is, I started coming to 1MillionCups, and then through the people that I met here, plugged into the social enterprise community, and then went to an innovators roundtable at AWH, and that was, I went because I knew people, and there was free food.
Got it.
And
Good.
that was full of ideas. It
This-
wasn't a hard sales push, it was just generating ideas and conversation. And then was able to follow up again through 1MillionCups. So having that dual presence of having, if there is a regular event, attending that regular event so that you build relationships with people, but also doing standalone events that will draw people who couldn't commit to coming every week, but could commit to coming for an hour, and then making that something that is a little bit more, making it very appealing, but also then using that to generate, to connect the people who are maybe very successful already,
Yeah.
and the people who are starting out.
Can I ask you, how did you hear about 1MillionCups?
I heard about 1MillionCups because my colleague was going to present, so she said we should come here.
Okay.
And she heard about it like 5 years ago when the company was just starting out, from Steve.
Okay. Good. This is recording, so I can watch it. I don't think that's right. It's perfect.
Yeah, hey, how are you?
Good, very nice.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
With regards to the value proposition of 1MillionCups has been like really entrenched. I myself didn't know anything about 1MillionCups until several weeks ago, and Lakeisha, one of the organizers, told me about it. I'm a marketing consultant by trade, but I have this tech idea.
Yeah.
And so when I got an opportunity to kind of speak to some people around this table in this sphere, I basically seeded my whole advisory committee, team from people from 1MillionCups.
Wonderful.
So this sort of thing, whether it's 1MillionCups, I think helps you begin to create energy. The other thing about our town that's pretty cool is we have this makers kind of concept, idea, I'm going over to Idea Foundry.
Yeah.
The concept of having a place, you may not have a built out space like that, but do something kind of episodic
Yeah.
that allows people to come up out of their basements and get together. Some of the groups that I've attended, like VR groups and things, just folks who are interested in stuff and making 3D printing. People are doing stuff, I'm sure, in Northwest Ohio. They're just in their basement, they're in their house, they're in their kitchen, and invite those makers on an episodic kind of basis to something where they can begin to connect and collaborate. I think that helps you begin to create that kind of energy and build some of those stories and those narratives that talk about innovation in your area.
What kind of events are most successful there? Do you know?
For me, I mean, we have something like Idea Foundry, and I don't get to go to a lot of things, but I've been able to go to kind of like groups that meet outside of Idea Foundry at different places around the city.
Okay.
But we're seated there, and so like the VR group, I was all into VR for a minute.
Yeah.
Leave me alone, I'm not a nerd. I just like it. I like it. So, but those are the sorts of things where the interested parties take on their own kind of life, and you follow them. There's like, they have a group, they have a page, they have a thing, and that again helps to create that kind of energy, Yeah.
Good.
It's good to capture it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of the times it's not necessarily what kinds of events that keep people coming, but it's the people who are putting on the events and the people who are putting on the too, for the product, I think just in general, if you push it so that it creates more benefit than harm in general to your body too, because I'm thinking like, what is the benefits for me doing it? Like, will it prevent certain illnesses? Like, should kids be doing it too? And maybe market it for kids instead of doing it in school, so that if it's something we should be doing every day, like brushing your teeth, like how often should we be doing it? Like, I feel like those are types of things I would be cancers to more that really sign up.
Okay, good, appreciate that. Yes.
I'm gonna really quick, Mark, you know this is a safe place to be a nerd, is it? But to answer more of like the community building question, I'm biased in that I am an artist, I'm a creative, and so I think where spaces begin to falter is when they keep those industries separate, when they keep their science-based industries separate from their artist communities. Some of the best ideas I've ever had have been through asking my artist friends to think through something with me, even if it's just something that's out of their realm, their comfort zone. Artists think so differently, creatives think so differently about things that just kind of help us pull out of whatever hole that we're in. So I would say focus or find space in areas where you can have those two types of communities converge in a way that they both feel comfortable, because there's going to be some amazing innovation that comes out of that. And then also to kind of go off of the like how to talk about the product and maybe how to start the pitch too, just thinking along the lines of beyond just seasonal allergies. I know you can talk about what's going on globally right now with the rise of wildfires and particulates in the air, and how that can affect our breathing and our lung capacity, the other viruses that might exist, and how I'm assuming, based off of science, and you'll make sure that the science is right on this, that by doing this every day, it will long-term help, our own respiratory system as we look towards a future where we're going to be experiencing more of those things. So again, it's kind of bad marketing to be like, here's the fear, but here's the solution.
Unfortunately, that's the way marketing has moved, right?
Oh yeah.
But no, it's those are great pieces of feedback, right? Especially the what we need to say with regard to health and cleaning the whole system. In the long-term effects for launching in 2024, I can't do that with the marketing claims, right? Unless I find a time machine too. But but that's for long-term. We certainly need that. That's great. Yes.
Well, so on the community building, going on way back machine, taking the time machine back to when the Idea Foundry started, it was on a Craigslist post saying, hey, I've got some tools, and I have some ideas, I want to meet other people with tools and ideas.
Okay.
And then they all met up in a garage, and there was 15 of them, and then the next month there were 30 of them, and the founder was just like, maybe there's something here. So to make it into a next step actionable thing, if you have an office space or a coffee shop that you can do something like this in whatever capacity, just invite some friends that are connected to what you would call innovation in your community, and just see what happens. I think that would be an easy next step, and it can keep growing. And to Ashley's point, try to see how you can overlap innovation with artists so that innovation happens.
Yeah, and I love that too. That's a classical education model instead of siloing all of our different things that we learn.
Yeah.
So that's perfect.
So in my head, when Ashley was talking, the word came meld, because you're melding the things together. So steal that from me and use it to create an event called Meld. Coffee shop. On your brand, I just wanted to throw out that I don't quite understand what Neez21 means.
Yeah.
And so from start to finish on the presentation, I kept staring at that going, okay, when I look at those words, that word and that logo, am I getting exactly what you are out of that? And the answer is no for me.
Right.
So just giving that, those 2 cents. And also, you called it out in your presentation, but the white font, get rid of that. Or change it, because it was very hard to read a lot of those things, so that'd be helpful to not be distracted.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Yeah.
For the kinds of people to invite, Precious was saying that people are, like, that's what's gonna set it. Adam Grant has a really nice talk on originals, and
Okay.
goes over some of the things you might look for. And like, originals fail a lot, they're nervous and self-doubt. and doubt themselves, and they are cautious. Like, you know, like a lot of things that the research revealed that were not what he expected. And I went to the Ohio X, the like tech CEO thing last year, and those are some people who are very, very confident. Everything they're doing is saving the world and making billions of dollars. And that is not actually, even though they're all saying they want innovation, that's not going to give you innovation, because nobody wants to look stupid in front of people who will laugh at them.
Yeah.
Right? So you need people who are going to who make it a safe place to just have ideas. And there's another book that's really good, Whoever Makes the Most Mistakes Wins. And it's really short, rough keys, but I would
Okay.
recommend reading that. It's How to Create a Culture of Innovation.
Good.
And it's very useful.
Eric, you got a last question?
I'll piggyback off that real quick. The stickability of, for me, when I came here for the first time, was just how everybody's asking questions like this, and it's very like you said, there's no judgment. It's just kind of like an open-ended thing, and it allows people to kind of express ideas, and I think that'll, I don't know, for me at least, that's what stuck to me from that.
That's awesome.
So just piggybacking on all of it, so I used to work in pharmaceutical sales, and I hear that for perhaps to impress investors, you want this subscription model.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's a revenue stream. I feel like, you know, something that you can clean yourself, you know, might also like answer a lot of the environmental concerns. Might not, you know, help the investors out, but like, it's just, you know, one thought of like a self-contained unit that doesn't require too much more. So that was just I'm assuming the name came from the doctor's name and some fusion of like no sneeze or something like that.
That's it. And the year it was made. So.
Right. So, like, I mean,
Yeah.
but like,
That'll be updated.
I'm trained in that way of
Yeah.
looking at things. So it wasn't really entirely obvious, but I, you know, from the presentation, it showed up, but it wasn't, you know, in the presentation. So, but I feel like in the community piece, you know, what I love about 1MillionCups is the intentionality of the introduction. You know, like this is about, for the most part, presentation over pitching and connecting over networking. So like when you hold the space, you know, hold it with that intention. You know, so like if you're bringing in 1MillionCups, you know, to Bowling Green, like bring it kind of with the branding that comes along with it, if that's what you desire. I mean, there are things like BNI. There's also an ECBI office up there that has a good amount of innovators. So like, you're not innovation light by any means. It's just like the space holding might be lacking right now. So just, you know, do you have an office space that can host or have access to?
Yeah, actually, just like the rest of the Midwest, we're very blessed with old dead malls. So we've had a group of two individuals who created a makerspace inside of a mall there in Bowling Green. So that's a perfect location, and there's a handful of spots up in Toledo that are available for that sort of thing. But yeah, I work out of the makerspace in BG for that reason. But often I'm there for 8 hours and I see the owners.
We have, sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry.
We have to be a bit more concise with time. So there may be a few minutes after to hang out. Of course, you can connect and make those connections. We do have a final question that we ask all our presenters. But before I say that, I just want to say thank you all, because you guys just all filled my cup, you know, and I'm sure the rest of the organizers as well. And it's good to know that that's the impact that this organization has had, because that's our intention. So thank you guys so much for that. The last question that we ask all our presenters is, what can we as a community do for you? I know that's kind of been what we've been working toward, but if there's anything you want to hammer in on, let us know.
I think the asking about that, how to grow that innovation, and I guess if you have any resources specifically around that, right? Like the how to start a 1MillionCups, or if you know people that have done similar things, like the people who got together in the garage, right? Like I'd love to have some more conversations with those people to see what we can do to get things started.
How can we get contact you? How can we reach out?
I've got a email address and website and all that fun stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.